Turn two then. We're just coming out of the London season. We got a little bit of clear up to do. We didn't get any retirements. That's a real shame because rotten boroughs would have been nice. We could strut around town in a fancy hat and 3 extra votes in the ballot box during Parliament meets. That would have been nice. But these are gone. We've lost our chance. So just create a discard pile off to the side of the board. They're out of the game. And we refill the London season display with 3 cards. Remember, blackmail cards go face down. Others face up. Oh, wow. If we had a retiree, we could have peeked at these. So when you get to pick from the London season display, you're not picking these blind. You can pick them up, have a little sneaky peek, put them down. So you do get a little bit of intel also if you're in the London season on what these blackmail cards are. We've got a spouse come up, Lady Newcomb. You can have as many spouses as you want in your player area, but each one comes with a benefit and a cost as well. So Lady Newcomb, for example, removes our ability to use votes on enterprises. So our shipyards no longer count for votes, for example. But she does give a -2 or a £2 discount on retirements, which is great, or a single retirement per turn, and 3 extra victory points. So 3 VPs is pretty neat. So one to keep an eye on. If I can get a retirement this turn and pick up Lady Newcomb, I've closed the VP difference already, but obviously I lose my voting power. Let's see what happens. All right, that's London season complete. Move to the family phase. Remember, chairman always goes first. She's bullish, so she's going to seek shares and then buy a shipyard with her 2 actions. She's going to seek share with one of her family members. We've not seen this action yet, but you can choose where to put it on this track. So you can pay anywhere from £2 up to £5. Why would you want to do that? In a low player game, it doesn't make much difference. Depends on the debt level, because what's going to happen is, at the moment we've got 2 debt, which means the top 2 family members here are going to move into the court of directors. So if you pay little and then someone comes up behind you and puts one of their family members in higher up, and maybe there's only 1 debt, that means they go into the court of directors and you've got to wait till next turn. Okay, so paying more guarantees you a spot in the court of directors. Paying less, cheaper, but you're not guaranteed a seat. So she's going to pay what the least she can. So she's going to pay £2. That was her first action. Secondly, she's going to buy another shipyard. Shipyards cost £2. So she's really building up on her shipyards. That's her 4th. She's chosen the Ganges. Let's grab that from the supply. Okay, so an unfitted ship. Her voting power is going up. She's increasing the number of shipping enterprises. Shipping enterprises aren't worth any power right now, so that's still okay. But that's it. That's her 2 family actions. Me next. So remember, back to our player board. Now, there's a good little bonus here. It says, if it's already there, you may take the action a second time. So if we choose to enlist a writer, because our opportunity token's already here, we would get to enlist another writer. Or I can choose to move it to a different spot. So if I wanted to buy a shipyard, I'd move it over here and buy a shipyard. And the next time, if I buy a shipyard again, I would get 2 shipyards. I would get to buy 2 shipyards. If I wanted to go back here, it would just be 1 writer. So every time you move your opportunity token, you take the action once. Every time you take the action where your opportunity market already is, you get to do it twice. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to enlist writer twice. Let's do this again. Now, I remember last time we got 3 ships in here, so we needed an extra writer. So I might put one of my writers here. And then I think the other one I'm going to put in the Presidency of Madras. Cool. Right, that's my family action done. And then we do the new company shares. The way it works is, so this extra step, if we've got company debt and we've got family members on the stock exchange track, we move the rightmost family member on the stock exchange into the court of directors and reduce the company debt by 1. Okay, so if there was another share here, we would reduce debt again. If there are still family members here but no debt, we simply move them up and they sit here waiting to join the court of directors, okay, waiting for more debt to get accumulated before they can invest. Investments pays off debt, increases the number of shares in the company. Make sense? So that's the way it works. Now, the Crown has gone back to a majority, 4 shares versus my 3, so that opens up an opportunity. Remember, once new company share step is complete and not before, so just before we get into hiring, after we've completed family phase, we can start to do some of these exchanges. So if the Crown has a majority of shares, we can swap pounds for promises. Oh, I've got some money, I've got no promises. They've got 12. I've got 18, so I could give her, say, £6, take 6 cubes back. Okay. Hiring. I don't want to buy out her shares this time. I'm going to keep my cubes. Incidentally, if I do decide to swap a share, she's bullish now, so it's going to cost 6. So it would cost all those to swap a share back. Then she would have the majority. I'd have the majority. Yeah. And then I couldn't buy any more cubes back because you can only do this when she has the majority of shares. Makes sense? So there's kind of a little trap there to stop you just pulling all the shares out of the company, because you're going to run out of cubes pretty quickly. So we could do it twice, but it's going to cost us £12 to do that. Yeah. Depends how big the gap is between us and her in terms of shares. If she's got lots more shares than us, then she's more willing to trade more of them. All right, hiring. So we've got 1 office up for hiring, and it's Director of Trade. Incidentally, if there were more offices here, you hire them in this numerical order, so lowest number first. As it goes, there's only 1 office, and it's chosen by the chairman. So it says, when the Crown is hiring, the Crown hires the first eligible office holder, clockwise or counterclockwise. So we go clockwise around the ribbon or counterclockwise around the ribbon, as indicated by the current AI card. The AI card is currently pointing to counterclockwise around the ribbon, and candidates are any office, so all of these offices here. So the first eligible candidate is manager of shipping. Now, there is a thing called nepotism. Nepotism says if you can hire another player's piece, so if the Crown could hire one of my pieces, they must do so unless that other player gives consent for nepotism, in other words, hiring your own piece. All right. So in a multiplayer game, you might have multiple candidates up, including your own. If you've got other players who you could recruit, you have to recruit them unless they concede to you hiring your own. Right? That's the nepotism rule. Now, there's a rule here in solo. Okay, ignore this is for 2-player only. For solo, you must give consent for nepotism to the Crown when required if they have 2 or more promises. At the moment, she's got 6 promises. So if we had all the promises over here and left her with just 0 or 1, we could deny that consent for nepotism and she'd have to hire our piece. Okay, it'd be up to us. As it goes, she's got lots of promise cubes, she's holding lots of promise cubes, so consent for nepotism to the Crown is mandatory. All right, so she's going to hire the first office, manager of shipping, becomes Director of Trade. But because we've conceded to that nepotism, it earns us 2 promise cubes. Bingo. Right, we're going to earn lots of promise cubes back here. So we're going to have a strong second term. We're going to have lots of sway over here because of this nepotism rule. So manager of shipping is now a vacant office. Okay, it's the same person. Let's get rid of these dice. So manager of shipping now becomes vacant, but director of trade is filled with the manager of shipping. But the manager of shipping carried one fatigue, so that one fatigue carries over to the director of trade. And now we're recruiting the manager of shipping position because that's now vacant. And it says manager of shipping, again chosen by the chairman. This time the candidates are writers. Okay. There's lots of writers available, us and theirs. So she's got 4 promise cubes. Normally, because of the nepotism rule, she'd have to be hiring one of our writers, but we must concede that she can recruit one of her own. So we now get 2 promise cubes back, and she's going to recruit either the writer from Bombay or the writer from Bengal. Which one does she choose? We use the AI card to break ties. So when there's ever a choice, and the choice is not clear by the rules, you always go to the AI card. So we have to choose a presidency. Presidency of Bombay or Presidency of Bengal. The AI card tells us when choosing between presidencies, first priority goes to Madras. Well, that wasn't an option. Second priority goes to Bombay. So she's choosing the Presidency of Bombay. That's the tiebreaker, okay, where this white second arrow is. So the writer in the Presidency of Bombay gets promoted to manager of shipping. This goes to the Crown. All right, she's got another office holder. I've got my eye on this. Tax collectors, yeah, maybe not yet. I've got quite a lot of promise cubes, so I could start nicking some stuff. 4 promise cubes, I can take an unfitted shipyard from the Crown. I'm tempted by that. I might just do that. So all that nepotism has been worthwhile because I get a free shipyard. Yeah, I'm going to do that. Okay, that's hiring complete. Everyone's been hired. Chairman. Chairman's sitting on £8. Remember, first thing they do is set climate. When Crown is chairman, we're going to flip a new AI card. Let's see what she does. So we're going to look, how many Crown commanders are there? If there's 0, she goes lion. 1 to 2, she turns bear. And 3, peacockish. There's 2 Crown commanders. 2 Crown commanders. She's going bearish. Okay. So she's looking at her military and going, hang on then. We could start getting a little bit busy here and start grabbing some loot from some invading perhaps. So that's how she's feeling about things. Okay, what does a bear chairman do? Seek debt. A bear chairman will seek debt for each presidency where the Crown is commander or has a majority of total army box pieces. So 2 presidencies, she's commander, so she's seeking 2 debt. All right, I'm willing to let that go. So 2 debt gives us £10 in the company balance, 8 to 18 in the coffers. How's she going to allocate it? She's going to give £4 to each presidency where Crown has a majority of pieces. Okay, Madras and Bengal. So she's not giving any money to Bombay. Let's do something about that. So I'm going to spend the promise cube. Remember, 1 promise cube to get £3 prior to each step. So I'm going to spend the promise cube and say, no, let's put £3 in Presidency of Bombay. All right, then she's going £4 in Madras and Bengal. All right, so £4 to Bengal first, because of the AI card, and then £4 to Madras. It's a lot of money in Madras. But maybe we can do a big invasion there, or she can rather. I'm happy with that. £2 to each presidency with the Crown Governor. We don't have any Crown Governors. £4 to a Crown Governor General. We don't have a Crown Governor General. Governor General is an extra office that can happen by one of these laws. And we'll see it if it pops up. £2 to each presidency with a Crown Writer. Well, that's Bengal. So she's giving another 2 to Bengal. Okay, we'll let that happen. And then, finally, the remainder to shipping. So 5 in shipping. So that means Director of Trade doesn't have any. All right, let's see what happens. We're going to be invading, so rather than using Director of Trade to open orders, we're going to be using armies, and there's lots of money for armies. And my concern is, she's put lots of money in Madras and Bengal, that she's going to use that money for invasions. But I'm the Pres at Bengal, so we'll see what happens when we get there. Okay, cool. Director of Trade, no money, does nothing. Oh, transfers. So she's bearish. She wants to transfer a ship from a player presidency to a crown presidency. She wants to put ships in Madras. So from either Bombay or Bengal, AI card says out of those two, choose Bengal first, Bombay second. So she wants to transfer a ship from Bengal to Madras. I want to prevent that, so I'm going to use a promise cube. Remember, 1 promise cube to prevent a transfer. Secondly, she wants to move a crown writer from the presidency with the fewest ships to presidency with the most ships. Presidency with the fewest ships is Madras. She doesn't have a crown writer there, so she's skipping that step. Then it says, lastly, a crown writer from a player presidency to a crown presidency. Well, that she can do. There's a crown writer here in a player residency, and she can move that to Madras. So I'll let her do that one. I mean, she's only hurt herself, really. She was trying to put ships in here, hence why she was keen to put those writers in there too. But maybe as manager of shipping, she's going to try and put some ships in here anyway. We'll see what happens. All right, manager of shipping. So we know she's going to try and fit as many ships as possible. So we've got the Ganges down here. That's going to cost 3. And where's she going to fit the ships? A bearish manager will, in the presidency's C zone with the highest number of crown writers. Yeah, she wants to put it here. I'm happy. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's let her do it and let's see how that pans out. Right, she's got £3 less left, so she's going to spend that. She can't afford a company ship. They cost 5. She's going to buy extra ships, which cost 2. She can only afford 1. She just wants to put it in Madras. Do I want that to happen? No. Let's pay a promise cube and have her put it over here in the east again, in Bengal. Okay, military affairs. There's no officers to assign, but she's got some transfers to do if she wants to. Looking at military affairs, she wants to move from an army where a player is commander to an army where crown is commander. There aren't any. Well, the only army under player command is Bombay, and there's nothing there to transfer, so she's not doing that. No officers to assign, so military affairs moves on. President of Bombay, so me next. I'm the commander. I don't want to be doing any invading. I do want to trade. I'm going to spend all my money, so I've got 5 coins. We're trading in Bombay across 2 regions. Do the same as before. So with £5 across an extra region, that's 4 dice. We're looking for a success. We've got a 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, lowest is a 1. That's a success. We've filled 3 orders. We're going to need an extra writer because we've only got 2. One for £4, another for 3, that's £7. And then the last one, 7 for £14. £14 for the company, 3 for the president, 1 each for these 2 writers. So that's 5 for me, 14 for the company. Okay, we're good. We're good. 5 for me. We love that presidential position. Okay, President of Madras, they're going to have the commander go first. Will they purchase a local alliance? Remember, we're bare. If the Crown's army strength is 2 or more, it is, they will attempt to purchase the most expensive, affordable local alliance, and that requires presidential consent. They're the president, so they're going to concede to themselves. They're going to try and spend. The most expensive is the Arcot, costs £4. They're taking money out of the president's coffers. That's all they're doing. Potentially working against the company here. We could throw a promise cube at them and say, no, don't buy that one, buy this one. The Crown must purchase a less expensive local alliance, costs 1 cube, 1 promise cube. But no, let's let them do it and see what they do. If I was the president here and gave consent, I'd get a promise cube back. I'd win some favour. Then they're going to deploy. At this stage of the game, the only place you can deploy is in the home region, because it's only once you've conquered the home region that you can start expanding. All right, so home region is what they're targeting, and it's a non-company controlled region. They're bearish. They only want 3 dice. They only need 3 dice. They're going to exhaust all available local alliances first in order to match the exact number of dice listed. So they only want to roll 3. So they're going to exhaust this. That gives them 2 dice. The tower strength is 1, so they're losing 1 die. Okay. They're trying to get to 3. Then crown officers, so one more die. Then player officers, there aren't any, and then regiments. So they're going to exhaust a regiment. Now they've got to the required number of 3 that they needed to do the invade. Now if I wanted to, I could say, look, come on, put these other 2 in. Increase or decrease the required number of dice by 1. Okay. The other thing I could do is, once pieces have been exhausted before rolling the dice, I can switch around. So I could say, look, let's pay 1 promise and switch that officer for that regiment. Okay, and that will deny her a little bit of loot, because loot's going to be shared amongst the commander and the exhausted officers. So let's do that. Do I want her to roll an extra die? I kind of want her to succeed in a way, but let's see if she does. But she's going to do it, but using only regiments and local alliances. So 4 strength, 4 army, -1 for the tower. Off she goes. Oh no! Madras does not want to fall. She doesn't have to do any death checks because her officer wasn't in there. It is a failure, but not a catastrophic one. All right, there is another option here, because the Crown could attempt to deploy again. Because it wasn't a catastrophic failure, she can try again. However, she's only got strength 2 army left, and she needs 3 dice. So strength 2 army -1 is only 1 die. Army's not strong enough. I could use these 2 Qs, make her buy another local alliance, or just reduce that 3 down to 1. I'll have her invade with 1 die. Nah, let's not do it. All right, so if there was a big army here, there's a chance she would go and deploy again. The benefit of failing without a catastrophic failure is you can try again. All right, President of Madras, that's the Crown once more. She wants to trade with 5 dice. She's only got £4. So I'm going to have to push her if I want her to trade. Again, 1 promise cube per die. Let's push her. So a bearish Crown is not keen to trade with just 4 dice. All right, £4 is being spent to roll 4 dice. Trade once. Let's see what happens. All right, success. We got a 1 in there. Okay, a 1 in the mix. Trade is successful. Good. So this order is going to be filled. There's 2 writers here. She's always going to try and place her own writer first. I could pay a cube and make her place my writer instead. I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave it. Let it be. Okay, so that's £5 for the company. That's up to 19. 1 for the president and 1 for the writer. So 2 coins for the crown. Okay, next, Presidency of Bengal. We've got 2, 4, 6, 8. We don't have a standing army, but there are a lot of local alliances. If the Crown's army strength is 2+, they will attempt to purchase the most affordable local alliance. The army is not, so she's not going to buy a local alliance. I've only got 1 cube left. She doesn't take much persuading. It's only 1 to make her purchase a local alliance, but I think we need to buy 2 really to make it worthwhile. They're not very strong. The armies, the local alliances in Bengal are not very strong. We're just going to have to trade, and still no governorships. We don't have any foothold in India. These rolls, the army of Madras was just rolling badly. It might have to wait till turn 3, guys, before we see what a governorship looks like. Okay, we're trading. We've got lots of money here. Should we spend 4? I might spend 5. My rolling's not been great. We're trying to trade. We've got 2 ships, so 2 orders for £11. We've only got 1 writer, but this is good quids for us. Okay, we got it. We got a 1. Okay, success is ours. 1 writer for £6, an extra writer for 5. That's £11, and 1, 2, £3 for me. So we're up to 30 on the company, doing great. £3 for me. Okay, China nothing, bonuses 3 for her, 2 for me. Beautiful. I think that's everything. Revenue and expenses. So expenses are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 takes us down to 17. Company standing's good. Expectations were £10. We're on 17. A bearish chairman wants to leave £6. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it's going to cost 7 to pay 1 dividend. She's not going to pay a second. Okay, that's fair enough. So that'll be £3 for me, £4 for her. 4 shares, 3 shares. Events in India. We only paid £7 in dividends. Expectations was 10. So company standing's not going up. Company standing's not going down. Let's roll that storm die. This is where things start to get a bit dodgy, I think. Because I want to start. India's just getting stronger and stronger, and I want to get some governorships so I can build up more regiments, so that I can be extracting more tax out of the company. At the moment, the Crown's just doing too well. If things ticking along like they are, I need to get an edge somewhere. It's hard to know where. Okay, let's see what happens. Events in India. It's 3 in the south again. So the Ganges has to make a check to see if it survives the storm. It's a 5. The Ganges sinks. Typical. So that's back on my shipyard. Yeah. And then 3 events. First one is a crisis. Okay, resolve a crisis where the elephant is. This is where the player aid will come in handy, because you're going to want to know. Figure out the type of invasion. So we look at where the elephant is. It's a sovereign. These are sovereign nations. They've got a dome with no flags in. It's a sovereign nation. So it's sovereign nation on sovereign nation. Hyderabad is trying to form an empire encapsulating Bombay. Bombay is sovereign as well, so it stands alone. we compare the strength of the attacker against the strength of the defender plus a crisis modifier. This is a +0, so at the moment it's 1v1. Okay, tower strength of 1 versus a tower strength of 1. So we're in this top one, it's an invasion, okay? Attacker strength, defender strength. Successful defender wins ties, so it's an unsuccessful. We lower the attacker's strength. That's all that happens. The evasion fails, it loses a tower strength. Then the elephant moves. If the attack was successful, this is called imperial ambitions, it kind of stays in Hyderabad and moves around. Okay, so this empire tries to expand even further. Otherwise, it's just going to the top of the stack, which is Bombay. So tail in Bombay. It's looking for the triangle, which is here. This is the triangle. So the elephant is standing on the border of Bombay, his tail in Bombay, with his eye on Punjab. Right, that's event number 1. Bombay next. So we've got 2 more to go. Leader. Right, this one's easy enough. Again, leader, there's no elephant on here. We're looking at the top of the stack. Top of the stack is Punjab. If this region is sovereign, it gets stronger. It's not sovereign. This is a dominated region. It's got a small silver flag in it. It's dominated by its neighbour Delhi over here, which has the capital flag. Okay, so this is a dominated region. It's not sovereign. If dominated, we treat this leader as a rebellion. A rebellion is just like a crisis, but the attacker is Punjab and it's rebelling against the region that dominates it. So again, it's the strength of the region, 0 in this case, against the defender, 2. In a rebellion, just to qualify, so we're looking at a rebellion, right? So we've got a dominated region attacking its capital. The attacker is its strength plus the crisis modifier +2, right? So it's 0 + 2. The defender, because it's a rebellion, not an invasion, doesn't include its whole empire, so it's just this capital, which has strength 2. So it's 2 versus 2. Defender wins on ties. It's unsuccessful. Instead, in an unsuccessful rebellion, you lower the capital's strength. Okay? If it has been successful, you close all orders, this region becomes sovereign, and it closes itself down. Instead, all that happens is the empire becomes a little bit weaker because one of its dominated regions was trying to rebel. Okay, that's it. The elephant doesn't move, okay? There's no elephant movement. The only time a leader event moves the elephant is if it's in a company-controlled region, right? Little rules that are here on this reference guide. Okay, that was leader event resolved. We've got one more event to go. Here it is. It is, oh no, another crisis. Okay. This time, it's Bombay, sovereign. It's going to fail because it's only a strength 1. Because it's an invasion, we've got a strength 1 with a -1 modifier. Okay, so we're from a sovereign. If we're invading from a sovereign region, then it's an invasion. It's the attacker plus its empire plus any modifier. So 1 - 1 is 0. The defender is the defender's strength plus its empire. So this is still part of this empire, which is strength 1, 2, 3, 4 in total. Right? You add up all the ones with the silver flags, because it's part of that empire. So Delhi's capital is bringing all of its empire to defend against this potential invasion from Bombay. It's an unsuccessful crisis. This is reduced in strength, the attacker. So all in all, that wasn't too bad. We moved the elephant. It wasn't successful, so it's going to go to top of stack, which is Delhi, and a circle. So Delhi. Now, Delhi is the capital, so that counts as sovereign. Right? Dominated regions are not sovereign. A capital is sovereign. So as a sovereign region, it's just going to go to where the circle is, which is this border here, right? So it's the border with Maratha. Now, there's nothing to be gained from Delhi looking at Maratha because Maratha is already dominated by Delhi. So if after doing this, the elephant is facing a region that's already dominated by the region on top of the draw stack, Delhi, then that's what this little arrow means. This clockwise arrow means just keep going round the borders clockwise until it's facing a region that it doesn't already dominate. So it's going to move, elephant's going to move clockwise, and it's going to look at Bombay. So Delhi's looking to invade Bombay. Bombay is very weak now. So 0 strength versus 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 strength empire. And that's potentially going to close Bombay, where our two writers are. Okay, but fortunately, that was the last event. Now moving to, oh, that's events done. Now it's Parliament meets. Crown's PM. Let's grab our laws. AI card says pick the third one. So unless a dilemma comes up, not window tax repeal, not trade regulation, so it's going to be the third one. It is military oversight. So these two get discarded, and military oversight goes up for the votes. Now, discarded laws, keep them off to the side, but there is a chance that they will come back at some point. Right, military oversight says immediately after Military Affairs Acts, the Prime Minister may demote one commander to an officer and appoint a new commander from officers in their army following the rules of hiring and nepotism. Okay. So potentially with officers here, even without having a majority, PM can demote and promote. So we'll see what happens here. It starts at +5. Right, let's do the policy fix first. It's shares. So PM is looking at this. We're looking clockwise or counterclockwise for the next share icon. There's a share icon here. A bonus on shares is counterclockwise, and a tax on shares clockwise. Which one is the net benefit for the Crown? It's going to be a bonus to shares, obviously. So she's going to choose to go bonus. A tax on shares is worse for the Crown. A bonus on shares is better for the Crown. If they're equally good, then use the tiebreaker. So that's the policy selection. Voting starts at +5. So up here. So at the moment this is going to pass. Before we decide whether this is going to pass or fail, we should have done a climate shift. Yeah, I forgot to do climate shift. So for 6 dice. I mean, that's important because you can persuade. We could have thrown in 2 promise cubes to ask the Crown to select the policy just drawn, the law just drawn. So we could have stopped her going to the third if we'd liked one of those others. But we're outside the revenue phase, so I can't trade in any more promises. There's nothing I could do here to influence things. So let's roll 6 dice and see what her mood does first. Remember, we're looking for 1 success and 5 failures. So climate shift says just one success. If the number of successes is greater or equal than company standing, shift climate right, it's not. If greater than company standing, shift right, it's not. If number of failures is 5, so this time we're here. If number of failures is less or equal, shift climate left. If number of failures is less, shift left again. So no climate shift this time. So if we'd have got 1 more success, there was a chance then, because this one would have been equal to, we would have said, okay, shift a little bit left, the Crown would have gone to Lion. Crown would have said, okay, let's move to Lion. So we're just 1 success away from a climate shift then. But as it stands, we rolled very few. We rolled badly for the company, not only 1 success, so climate didn't shift. Now, military oversight's what's up. If the Crown is Prime Minister, they will vote for, otherwise against. Okay. So she's voting for. She's got 10, 20. Yeah, she's got more than 15, so she's getting her +4 bonus. All those monies for votes, those brown envelopes. So it's up to +9. She's got 3 shipyards, so it's up to +12. The law's passing. I could vote against. I've only got 2 votes. So yeah, the law's passing. Okay, military oversight's in play. So what this means is, it says, remember, immediately after military affairs acts, the Prime Minister may demote one commander to an officer. So the PM can act here. So there's some logic here that says they will demote a non-Crown commander if a Crown officer is available in the army. So she's just going to keep trying to push her own officers into commander positions if she can. We'll place this here just to remind us that that's in play, I think. All right, the law passed. There's a bonus then. So this policy now gets enacted. So a bonus for shares. They own 4 shares, we own 3. So they get a bonus of £4. We get a bonus of £3. And for passing a law, the Crown gets a passed law power trophy. So at the moment, Crown is in the lead for power because they've got 1 power here, possibly some more power here, we don't know. The power tree is giving 2 for social enterprises, which we have none, 1 for shares. So they've got 4, we've got 3. So they've got 5 power, we've got 3 power. So yeah, they're winning at the minute on the power battle. So if things were to end now, they'd get the big Victory Point Power Award. So we've got to do something about that as well. We've got some work to do. First though, upkeep and refresh. So writers return to their presidencies. So these 2 writers come back to Bombay. This writer returns to Madras. Now there is a little bonus here. During upkeep and refresh in the solo game, if you have 1 or more writers in a Crown presidency, but you do not have at least 1 writer returning from a field order to that presidency, the Crown owes you a promise cube. It's kind of like a little embarrassing. Sorry, okay, I owe you 1. Right, and that writer comes back. Or we had a temporary writer up here. Extra ship goes back to the supply. These regiments unexhaust. And we advance to turn 3. Okay, should we do the London season for turn 3? Let's do it. Okay, so attrition rolls first. So President of Bombay first. A 6. Okay, he's out of here. President of Bombay, I've lost my president who was doing me so well. President of Bengal's got 1 fatigue on there, so we add 1 to this roll. It's another 6. So President of Bengal is also out of here. Okay, Crown next. So Chairman has an inherent +1, remember? Oh, Chairman's gone as well. Chairman's out of here. President of Madras. 2, he's all right. Director of Trade has a fatigue. He's out of here. Military Affairs has a fatigue, so a +1. It's a 5. Military Affairs is out of here. Wow. This is a little bit different to the last time. And then lastly, Manager of Shipping is a 1. He survives. I just want to do a quick check of how much money we've got. 2, 4, 6. We're all quite rich here. 10. And then we've got 5, 8 here. Okay, so I've got 28. Now they needed to pay during the upkeep. They should have paid their upkeep on this mansion. So that's an extra £2 from the Crown. don't forget to do that. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 here. They've got 29. I've got 28. So it's pretty close. Now, before we head into the London season, before we start doing retirements, there is a chance to take £1 from the Treasury for 2 promised cubes. So I've got 20. I've got how many? I've got 2 pensioners. 25, 28. I don't need any money. So let's see what happens. Chairman goes first. Their former chairman. They're holding this gavel. So they've got 1, 2, 3 pensioners. So 10, 29. So they're going to spend no more than half rounded up. So that's 15. So they got to spend 15 on their first retirement. So they're going to pay 14. They can afford a retirement here. Okay. Let's get all their money to show you how this works. So place them face down when you're doing this. This is the easiest way. Place them face down, because then you can see the new ones as opposed to the old ones, and it makes it easier when you're totaling up who's spent the most. Okay, or you can put the money in a little side pot if you want. So they're paying 14 for this one. 14. Okay. They've got 2 more pensioners. So they've got £15 left. So half of 15 rounded up is 8. So they're going to put another. So with £8 they can afford to put one here. So they're going to spend £8 and put one here. Okay. They've got 1 more pensioner left. They've got £7. Right. Half rounded up is 4. So they can afford to put their next one in the £4 slot. Okay. They wouldn't put anything in the £2 spot unless they had no other retirements. They'd only spend and put 1 pensioner in there if it was the only retirement they were having. So as it goes, they've spent £26 on retirements. And they've got £3 left. Okay. What about me? I've got 2 pensioners. And I've got 28. I could spend all my money, put 1 here and 1 here. So I might do that. £28. Doing it. Now we can borrow money. It gets a bit cheaper after, where is it? London season. Okay, so before retirements, it's a 2 for 1. Sorry, 2 promised cubes to take £1 from the Crown. After Crown's completed her retirements, we could take. It's a 1 for 1, £1 for a cube. But I don't want to. I think we're happy with this. Okay, let's top up the victory points. So that's 12 plus 4. That's 16 victory points for me. Massive. An extra 8 plus 4, that's 12. 14 for the Crown, so she's on 18. So we've narrowed the gap by a couple of victory points. We've closed in a little bit. Who spent the most? So she spent most total cash. She spent 14 plus 8, 22, 26. I spent 28. I spent the most, so I get first pick. And I'm welcome to peek at any blackmail card. Okay, it's only 1 card, but we get to peek at these. So this one's worth 2 power if I don't use it by the end of the game. Company fraud. Play any time on your turn before expenses. Roll a die for each of your office holders and lower the company balance equal to twice highest roll to take that much from the bank. So this is a good way of extracting money out of the company via fraud. This one says scandal on Leadenhall Street. Play when taken from the display or anytime after the revenue phase on a turn to force an office that is not president or governor to vacate without retirement. So I can kick somebody out because of a scandal. Or I could take Lady Newcomb, worth 3 victory points, which will push me up ahead, and then my enterprises no longer count. Do I want to lose the voting power of my enterprises for 3 victory points and a discount on subsequent retirements? I think I do. Let's take Lady Newcomb. So that gives me 3 victory points, and this goes in my player area. So Lady Newcomb is now Lady Benyon in our family. I've got 3 more victory points. 1, 2, 3. I'm now just in the lead by 1 victory point. And now the Crown gets to pick one as well. She wants to pick the one in the 3rd position. I know what that is because I had a little peek at it and it gave her 2 power. So yeah, there's at least 2 power here. Plus that one, that's 3, plus shares at the moment are worth 1 each. But there's 2, 3, yeah, she's at least 3 power ahead, so we've got to do something about that as well. And then a good way to get power, remember, is to invade. Invasions give you trophies, which give you power. Being PM, obviously, is a good way to get power. And with 2 commanders on the board and all the armies, at the moment, she's trying to grab that power lead. Right, let's turn these all face up. We're going to have quite a bit of expenses on our prizes next time. So I've got 6 expenses, which I've got no money. So I know I can't afford to pay that. And if I can't afford to pay my expenses, then I lose the prizes. So I do have to get at least £6 from somewhere. She's got £3. And her expenses are also quite high. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's see where things lie. If she can't afford to pay her expenses, okay, this is, I guess, one of the most final exceptions, but she's got royal privilege. If the Crown cannot afford attacks or family expenses, she'll use additional funds from the company treasury. She'll use this money to pay for the cost. In other words, the British East India Company has to kind of support the Crown a little bit. So company coffers will pay her fees, expenses on her prizes if she can't afford them. Look out for it, because if there's no money in the company coffers and the Crown's built up a massive amount of debt through all these stately homes and, I don't know, Buckingham Palace that she's sitting in, then the company will have to take emergency loans, and emergency loans pushes companies standing down. Companies standing, hitting F, is company failure. Not necessarily a loss. I mean, the game will end, we can still win, but we've got to be cautious about that happening unexpectedly. All right, let's refresh the London season. So we got another blackmail card. We got another spouse, Lady Glencora and William Collins. 2 more spouses, and we're going to head into the family phase. 10-3.